Hey, what's up, revelers? We're here with Kyle Prevost. He's a personal finance guru. You can find him over at YoungAndThrifty.ca. And he was awesome enough to hop on with us and answer some personal finance questions and give you some brutally honest advice. So, Kyle, thanks for being with us. Can you tell us a little bit about you? Tell us your story. How did you become the master of finance?
Hi, Tyler. Well, thanks for having me on here this morning. Basically, I don't think my story is all that special. Essentially, a buddy and I, we graduated university. We tried to become adults, and we realized we have no idea how to buy a house. What the hell is in a mortgage? Uh, we knew we were supposed to save for retirement at some point, but we had no idea how to do that, how to do it efficiently or even poorly. And we realized that most people that we knew, and we hung out with people generally smarter than us. Like I had buddies that were like pharmacists, I had buddies that were doctors, and they basically had no idea what to do with their money either. But no one was admitting it. We all just sort of floated around and pretended. I call it like the emperor has no clothes syndrome. We all just like pretended that this emperor had great clothes and that no one wanted to talk about money. It was like the last taboo, especially in families. You get most parents these days would rather sit down at the dinner table and talk about sex with their children rather than money. It's super weird. There's still all these like stigmas around money. And so basically we decided, hey, let's just give people the straight goods on sort of saving money, investing money, whether you're a student, whether you're just starting out. And yeah, we just started writing, and we had like 5 people on our site, and then we got 10 people, and now we have about 150,000 people a month come to our site.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's a great site, and you guys should all check it out. So we're gonna get to the first big question, and this is what we typically ask everyone. So, what is the most brutally honest piece of advice that you can give to millennials? And you can go anywhere you want with this.
So I find like any piece of like advice that you're supposed to give to the millennials in general is this sort of broad ranging, super vague, voodoo bullshit most of the time. And so I'm just gonna go with the guy Theo Epstein. He's a pretty popular dude right now. If you're not a sports fan, I heard him on a podcast recently, and he sort of codified what I've been thinking about a lot lately. And he said, find the 20% of the job that your boss hates doing, and just do that job. And that's the best way to get ahead, I think. And you combine that with some other sort of pearls of wisdom I picked up over the years, stuff like, generally if you're in the top 10% of people in your field, it doesn't matter. The market doesn't matter. Outsourcing rarely matters. If you're in the top 10%, you'll have a tough time. You'll never have a tough time finding work. So it's sort of one of these things of like, it's easy to say, but hard to do. And so then, of course, comes all the sacrifice to make sure you're doing all that, being in the top 10%, finding the stuff no one wants to do, et cetera, et cetera. But that's the best advice I honestly have.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so next up is I know you guys feature a lot of different apps and websites, on your site about the best ways to keep your personal finances in order. So what is the best personal finance tool out there right now? What would you recommend?
You know what the best personal finance tool is, Tyler, is the one you're actually going to use. So that's a cop out answer, but basically, if you go and look for an app, just pick. There's like 3 different budgeting apps. Download them all. Just see which ones you hate, delete them, and pick the one that you're actually going to use. Uh, it's sort of there's a lot of comparisons between like personal fitness and personal finance, and it's like, well, what's the best way to get in shape, right? Well, there's a lot of different ways to get in shape. You can, bust your ass on the treadmill every day. You can eat, the perfect diet. You can do all these things. In a perfect world, you do all of them, but most of us try to get by doing one or two. Um, Same thing in personal finance. You don't have to be an expert at everything. If you can sort of make sure you don't carry a credit card balance, make sure you have a general budget you're sticking to. If I had to point out one personal finance tool that I think millennials specifically have been gravitating towards, it's something called a robo advisor or an online wealth management tool. So you might have heard of Betterment or Wealth Simple. These are basically folks that are going to, in my opinion, they're going to destroy the traditional way of managing your money, which has been basically to hand it over to someone in a suit and tie and pray, has been the traditional way of handling money. And I think these guys like Betterment, like Wealthfront, like Wealthsimple. I think these guys are they're going to upset that apple cart. So you can head to our site if you want an in-depth on why I think that, or you can head to their site and see why I have been advocating for a lot of millennials to check them out when it comes to investing their money. But basically, the main thing is just get started. Just do something.
That's awesome advice. And yeah, I would I think we should hop on again because I would love to hear more about that site and those sites that you recommend. Um, but all right, so final question here, final Jeopardy. Um, Gotta ask you because these people piss me off to no end. Is these people you see all over Instagram and Twitter who want to be millionaires by the time they're 30. They don't have a trust fund. They have like 300 followers. Um, what would you say to these people? What recommendation or advice could you give to these people who say they want to be millionaires by 30?
Yeah, there's two types of people that want to be millionaires by 30, Tyler. There's the type of people you're talking about that like to talk about it. They like to show a lot of flashy pictures. They like to lease fancy vehicles, and sort of give this impression that they're already rich. And a lot of these folks are the same ones that are like, oh, the secret. If I just think about it and wear the fancy watch and the nice clothes, it'll come to me. The wealth will flow. Generally, I can't stand those people. I don't hang around with those type of people very often. I actually live in a somewhat rural area, so those type of people don't generally exist in the circles I travel in. The other type of people, well, they're very few and far between where they're just like, you know what, this is my crazy lofty goal. If I shoot for it, miss it, that's totally fine. But I want to be like financially independent at 30, and here are the steps I'm going to take to get there. Those type of people I'm okay with. I mean, $1 million by 30 is one hell of a goal, obviously, but if that's the carrot on the stick that gets you up 2 hours before everyone else, if that's the sort of thing that motivates you to become the top 10% of your market, then hey, by all means, rock and roll. I will say, statistically speaking, most people that are millionaires by age 40, never mind 30, the most common car they drive. This is in a book by a guy named Thomas Stanley. If anyone wants to look him up, he's got some great advice. He's been looking at millionaire habits for decades now. And the most common vehicle that millionaires drive is a Toyota Corolla. And if you look at the average house size that most millionaires actually live in, it's relatively small. In other words, these people don't need to show. They don't need to show off. They're too busy building money. They're too busy building wealth, I should say. So if you're the guy or gal on Twitter, trying to become the next reality TV star in order to become a millionaire, I think you've got a heck of an uphill climb. And it's nothing personal. I just don't really want to hang out with you. And actually, again, it's not a good idea to hang out with those people from a wealth building perspective, because you're going to be tempted to live the same lifestyle they're living. And I can tell you the dollars and cents just don't add up. If you try to live that lifestyle at a young age, you're not going to be a millionaire. It's pretty simple.
Awesome, Kyle. That is awesome advice. We appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk with all the revelers and making them more financially savvy. You guys should all go check it out. YoungAndThrifty.ca. Again, this was Kyle Prevost, personal finance guru. We really appreciate having you on, man.
All right. Thanks, Tyler. Have a good one.